Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Sam United People's TV. It's Tuesday, 4th of November. We're here, as always, with the morning news live show. We're going to run through, Jamie Carragher criticising the system on Monday Night Football after United draw for the first time in 4 games, despite the fact that we won 3 games before. Yeah, it's predictable. We're going to run through those comments. We're going to have a chat about it. We're also going to speak about Sekou Kone's return, a little bit on Diego Leon. This is from Travis Binion, who is United's under-21s coach. You know what I fancy doing today in the live show as well? Might do a little cheeky Q&A session for 5-10 minutes. Because there's not too many talking points that I think will drive us through the typical 45-minute show. So I think it might just be a fun thing for us to do a little bit later in the show. We'll also speak about Spurs a little bit later as well. Obviously, Spurs is the last game we've got now before the final international break. And then when we come back, it's December. United got 6 games in December, I think. We ran through those yesterday in the ridiculous schedule. But as always, let me say hello to the mods and the members, and we'll get on with today's show. Stephanie, good morning to you. Alex, good morning to you as well. JC, good morning to you, buddy. How you doing? Josh, you'll be there as always. Carl, you're there as well. I was a little bit late this morning getting the show live. I'll tell you what, I had a big night on Saturday. Truth be told, I had a big night on Saturday. We hosted a Halloween party, and my mind has been frazzled. My mind has been, non-existent for, 48 hours. I can't do it anymore. I've reached that age. I've accepted it. I have to accept it. And I'm just giving you an insight into what's going on in my head going before this show. United People's TV has grown to the size. There are so many people that rely on me now, and all of you guys and girls in the community, that I can't afford to have that sort of, mental disappearance for the last 48 hours. Sacked, indeed, and sacked. It really, really annoys me. So I've really got to rein that in. I hardly ever do it anymore, and that's exactly why. It just annoys me. So I thought I'd let you know. That's what I've been thinking in the build-up to the Today Show. Zinni, good morning to you. Maddie, good morning to you as well. We've got Scott. We've got Dev. We've got Gerard. We've got Tony, Saeed, and some non-members as well. Say hello. We've got Andrew. We've got Veggie Man. We've got Stephen Wales, Ronald, and we've got Pat Martin. Good morning to all of you. Can I start with some random news here? Now, this could actually happen, right? This could actually happen. So we saw this yesterday from David Ornstein. Gary O'Neill, of course, who got sacked by Wolves, 11 months ago? And now he's back in contention for replacing Vitor Pereira. And then Eric Ten Hag's name pops up. You're thinking, oh, bloody hell, really? No, that's right. It'll be Gary O'Neill. Wah. Never mind. So effectively what's happened is there's been such a backlash. I'm sure there are other factors involved in it as well. But there's been such a backlash from Wolves fans about Gary O'Neill's potential return that he's ended up pulling himself out. What do we think? Don't we play Wolves in a few weeks? Odds on it being Amorim against Ten Hag? What do you reckon? Do you think Ten Hag's going to be going and managing Wolves? I think, is it Edwards? Is that Middlesbrough? It would be quite funny if Ten Hag went in there. Be here saying that Eric Ten Hag will be stupid to take that job. I mean, would he? Failed at Manchester United, then went to Leverkusen. I'll be honest, Leverkusen, they did him dirty more than the other way around. They gave him, 3 games? And then we made a mistake. That was our own fault. Anyway, let's see if that happens. I don't know whether it actually will, but it would be quite funny. I appreciate that, Scott. Quite a few of you have reached out to me. There's a channel called United Pride, I think, on YouTube. I've had a couple of emails and a couple of DMs on Twitter as well, maybe on Instagram, didn't check those, saying that they're nicking the content and that some of you have reported it. Thank you all for doing that, man. It really annoys me. It's there's nothing worse than thieves and robbers. If anybody creates their own content and maybe it mimics what we're doing here, then, well, at least I suppose, like, imitation's a form of flattery and all that. Is a little bit frustrating, but people just absolutely just lifting it, nicking it, really annoys me. Remember that TikTok account I spoke about before? By the way, anybody watching on TikTok, good morning to you. I don't say hello to everybody on there just yet because still haven't quite figured out a way to get comments in from TikTok because it's not as simple as I thought it would be, naturally. So I'm live on TikTok, but I can't actually see your comments just yet. Andy's saying if he does, he'll be sat before the game. And before I quickly speak about Jamie Carragher, Monday Night Football, Gary Neville, Benjamin Šeško, all those comments, just wanted to... What would you... Let's have a little random conversation here. Like, what would you rate United's start to the season so far? Okay, we're 10 games in. The whole league's played 10 games. We're 2 points off second place. That's mad. It really is mad that we're 2 points off second place. There are 3 points between second and ninth. Someone down there saying, could you put a watermark copy over your... You could put a watermark copyright over the videos, but then it will reduce the quality and the enjoyment of all the videos that we do for everyone who's on this channel. But 2 points off second, 3 points between second and ninth. It's fair to say that it's been... I suppose it's been it's been an up and down season for everybody apart from Arsenal. Every other team, well, I know, it's been an up and down season apart from Arsenal and apart from Sunderland, who are really enjoying themselves. Bournemouth are having a cracking season so far. City have had some wobblers. Liverpool have had wobblers. Spurs have. Chelsea have. United have. Crystal Palace, I think they'll be pretty happy with the season so far. Let me see what you're saying down here. And you're saying it's excellent considering who we played. Siraj, you're going for a 6 out of 10. So's John and MCLJ Biscuits. Steve and Cantona, you're going for a 7. So's Tiskin and Kevin. Langamusa, you're going for a 7 as well. 8 out of 10 says hands up for the Panther and Silent Ronin. 7 out of 10 down there. Poor start, but picking up now, says John. Not bad at all. 7.5. Alex, you're saying 7 out of 10. Let's not forget Grimsby. Grimsby didn't happen. And I'm just speaking about the league here because Grimsby didn't happen. That was a bad memory. I had some mad nightmare last night. Can't remember what it was. I just remember it being freaky as hell. Thought I'd let you know. What would I give it? I think a 7 out of 10 is fair. I really do. Like, I know it's not been a blockbuster start to the season. I know there's been... Geez, I reached a point where I lost any sort of hope in Ruben Amorim to create momentum. That video I did after Brentford, I'm sorry, Ruben Amorim. I remember that. That was a grim week. I just didn't see where the momentum was coming from. And since then, we're undefeated in the last 4 games. 3 wins and a draw. 10 points out of our last 12. So we've got 10 points out of our last 12 available. That's 4, which means we've got 7 points from the first 6 games. 7 from the first 18 available. And 10 from the last 12. Kind of goes to show that it's like 2 different halves of the start of this season. The first, awful. The second, significantly better. Mate, we better... We'll speak about the Spurs game a little bit later. Right, we'll speak about the Spurs game a little bit later. Let me see what you're saying down there. Onana cost us in that Grimsby game. Man, Onana's a bad memory. Certainly going to be something that no one down here is going to let me forget. And I won't let myself forget that either. Eric saying, Sam, you need to criticise Amorim more. Well, so I can get it wrong. And I think my criticism of Amorim was fair. I largely think my criticism of players is fair. I don't really go personal. I don't go too far. I don't get blinded by the genuine agendas, and I can't accept that there's improvements. Yeah. Carl, you're saying we play 5 out of the 7 above us in the table too. Yeah, I've had a hard start to the season, but it's We'll see what goes on next. But I think 7 out of 10, considering we're 2 points. Hey, look, maybe if City and Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, whatever, if they were all running away with it at the top of the table and we were already like 6, 8 points off the top 3 and we were already like 5 points off the top 4, I feel like there would be a lot more frustration among United fans than maybe there currently is. But the fact that we are 2 points off second, it means that whatever we've been doing this season is keeping us on par for our ambitions to get into the Champions League next season. Anybody going to be watching the Champions League tonight? That's Gary Neville. Oh, never mind. I thought I had the Champions League games up. I didn't. Boylo, you're saying your criticisms have been fair. I've been rooting for an Amorim since day one, but you and everyone were right to be concerned. And I'm going to be speaking about Jamie Carragher's criticism next. The reason I'm annoyed about Jamie Carragher's criticism isn't the fact that he's criticising a system, which I think there are still fair criticisms of. I think it's more his timing than everything. MB, you're saying Arsenal being top of the league means the season hasn't started properly yet. They're all expecting Arsenal to do what Arsenal do every season. But I'll be honest, what they're doing this season isn't very Arsenal. Like, is it 7 games they've gone now without conceding a goal? They have mastered the art of defending more than anything. And what is it like? Goals win games, defensive. Did Fergie ever actually say that? Or has that just been something that almost became an urban myth? You know, something like a lie that's said enough times becomes a truth. Sounds like the sort of thing that Fergie would have said, though. Anyway. Feels like quite often these days on this channel. Gungshi, I can see you down there, dude. Big up, man. Love you. Thank you very much for gifting memberships. Can I say to everybody, I put out the advert for the replacement head of community. We're going to have to go through the hiring process again. It really is a shame that it didn't work out with Jimmy just for now. There's more about like time and circumstance. Lots of you have sent in emails. I've got to run through all of those, got to run through all the apps and then hold the interviews, etc., etc. I really need this head of community, like badly, like yesterday, last month, badly. The community is so big and so vibrant and so diverse and needs so much attention. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Not with the content demands and everything else we've got going on. So it was really frustrating to lose Jimmy, if I'm being completely honest. I actually think it was the hardest position that we've had to fill because it's somebody who needs to have experience with the community, also experience managing communities of this scale and being able to project manage and do multiple things at once. Yeah. What's someone saying down there? Hands up for the Panther. So thanks for Super Chat. Do you say, way some fans act? Do you think it was a 2 and we should win every game 5-0 and we need to be invincible? An unlucky result and fans shout Amorim out. Nah. Given that we finished 15th last season, we knew, and I said this going into this season, that there was going to be less patience at the start of the season unless there was progress and development. And it's the fact that the season continued and a lot of the problems that we saw last season were coming into this season. So that's why the criticism was a bit stronger probably earlier than it otherwise would have been. Well, yesterday, I did my video on Gary Neville's comments on Šeško. And as I said, I don't know whether it's... I was asking the lads this behind the scenes. Like, Brian, you're asking, where do you apply? And I said this, and I mean this in the most polite way possible. Please only genuinely apply for this role. It's a paid role, and it's going to be paid quite well, if I'm being completely honest. It's part-time. It's going to suit somebody who's already got a job but has the ability to manage more than one thing at once because, truth be told, I can't afford to pay for somebody full-time right now to come in and help manage a community. The idea is, and this is what I've always done with anybody who comes into United People's TV, it always starts in a part-time role, and if you nail it and you prove yourself indispensable, then the pay increases after a couple of months. If you nail it then again, the pay increases and it scales up. So to the point where if you're here for a year and you've really nailed it, when you get to a year down the line, then you have conversations about you turning it into a full-time role, which is exactly what Ronnie has done, who's now full-time and has been with United People's TV for 2 and a bit years, and what some others are doing too. It's just the best way for me to be able to scale it and work with people. Just, again, giving you some insight into what's going on. But this yesterday, right? Johnny's saying like he's partly right about Sekou. I know he's partly right about Sekou. But the thing that just disappoints me is that the way that he speaks about United players, and this is just the job of the pundits. And maybe I can't really have a go at Gary Neville for this, and I should more have a go at what pundits are. But I've pulled up the clip of what Ruben Amorim said in there when he was like, if you're not saying something strong as a pundit, then I don't want to listen to you, sort of thing. That's what Ruben Amorim said, and it is the truth. And you know that's a frustration of me in like the content that we do here on United People's TV and the content that exists in the United space. If it's not the most extreme, exaggerated version of that, either opinion or just comment, it's not really picked up about enough. It's not spoken about enough, and maybe that's kind of part and parcel of what Gary Neville's saying. Part of his criticism is fair. Part of it feels a little bit over the top, if I'm being completely honest. And it's not what I want to see from a player who gave his whole career to our football club. Mad Dog is saying, I've missed a part about the community role. Where do I find the ad? It's on LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, United People's TV, the job role's there. The adverts are paused. You can probably still, no, not the advert, the applications are now paused. But if you go, LinkedIn, United People's TV, the job spec is there, and you can apply by emailing me, sam@unitedpeoples.tv. I'm this afternoon trying to book some time out so I can go through applications. Because, there's just too many things on. And this is why I can't afford to have weekends like that anymore. There is just so many things constantly wanting my attention. And I love it, but I have to be so sharp all the time to be able to manage it all. So that's what annoyed me. Anyway, speaking about what else annoyed me. Like this. Monday Night Football last night, Johnny Evans on there. Johnny Evans, of course, I think he might be, I don't know if I'm right or wrong here, but he might be the first former United player who played under Ruben Amorim that's spoken about his system. I think so. I found it a bit bloody odd that they spent 5 minutes speaking about Ruben Amorim's first game in charge against Everton. Presumably just because Johnny Evans played in that game. I don't know. I thought that was a bit odd, if I'm being completely honest. And this, if you missed it, right? Jamie Carragher speaking about the system, the Ruben Amorim system, on Monday Night Football last night. Of course, the system doesn't feel right for him. He criticises it. He speaks about the history of Manchester United, and he speaks about this and speaks about that. And it's like, right. Again, it could be coincidence. Oh, was it Ipswich? Oh, yeah, it was Ipswich. My bad. Don't know why I was saying Everton. I think it's because Everton were playing last night. That's why. I didn't hear from Jamie Carragher after United beat Liverpool. I didn't see him on the overlap. I didn't see him on the overlap after Liverpool lost multiple games in a row. I didn't really hear any criticism really towards the system. In fact, I heard praise towards the system after those 3 games. And, Ruben Amorim was saying, when we win, it's not the system, and when we lose, it is the system. That's kind of what I feel about this. Like, it just feels a bit tired to repeat the same conversations there on Monday Night Football just because we dropped 2 points to Nottingham Forest. I think the system had sweet FA to do with the fact that in the first 5 minutes of that second half, those players came out asleep. Completely asleep. Doesn't matter what the system was. It just kind of feels a little bit boring. As I said, it It feels like he came out of hiding. Yeah. Anyway, just really odd that he was speaking about that game there. Johnny's saying that Everton home game was exactly 1 year to the day since Amorim took charge of his first game. I actually think I saw this. I forgot to pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up. That's it there. Right. This is Amorim's first year. Let's zoom in on that. It's not exactly pretty reading, is it? I think I'm happy to say that it feels like right now, where we're at with these last 4 games, feels like the most consistent bit of progress that I think we've seen under Ruben Amorim so far. There's been moments and games, yeah, and periods. I think there was one. He hasn't yet gone 5 games undefeated. So this is the second time in a row that we've gone 4 games undefeated. But, yeah, like, what's your take on that? I just asked you there, what's your take on the first season so far? And the general consensus down there was probably somewhere around 6.5 out of 10. Probably would give that significantly less than a 6.5 overall that first year. There's a lot that I want to forget about there. Oh man, can I say thank you to this whole community? Paul and Big Blake both gifting 5 memberships each. You're both legends. I hope the Discord is working all hunky-dory right now. Again, this is a big reason why I need to bring somebody in. The Discord is nearly at 10,000 members now. You know how cool that is? That's ridiculous. And I've got, like, for example, I got this last week. Got this from Stan Chow. And I asked Stan, I said, Stan, would it be all right if we gave this away to the community? And he said, absolutely. And he sent me another one, which I'm now going to put up on the wall. But look, this you can see that this is print number 3, signed by Stan Chow there, certificate of authentication, because these are limited releases. And it's signed by Stan Chow there, and it's got the print on the bottom there. You see it? Number 3. And we've got the matching shirt. I want to organise this as a giveaway. I don't have time to manage the giveaway and get it sent to someone and organise what the giveaway would be. There are a bloody million things. I've got 8 framed A2 posters that I want to do giveaways for. I can't manage it. I've got so much stuff that I want to do and give away with the bloody community, and I just can't do it. That's why I need that role. I know I moan about it a lot, but the reason I moan about it so much is because I'm so aware of how much better the community can be if it just has somebody who is leading it in the way that I had time to lead that before. And I just can't because I'm doing other stuff now. That's why I'm so determined to find that person, because I'm telling you that everything that we've built together, it gets even better and better. And all the live shows that I want to do and the global meetups, it needs someone to focus on it. And the community is big enough that it really deserves that person. But yeah, that's someone saying make Friday a quiz question giveaway. There's so many things. There's so many things that I can do, but it has to get somebody to lead it and champion it. All right. So I hope I find that person. I thought that person was Jimmy, and it would have been, but it's just the timings didn't work out. All right. The timings didn't work out. Right. Let's move on. Yeah, Luke. I'm the leader now, and I need a team around you to support. Yeah, we've got support, fantastic support with the social team, with the video editors, with everything. But the one area which I'm just struggling with is the community. We've got fantastic mods. We've got Joe. We've got, who else we've got? I apologise, I can't remember any other lads' names right now. But yeah, we need a head of community that can connect it all together. All the live events. We've got a big job we're doing behind the scenes, which no one knows about yet, which I want to launch towards the end of the season, that really gives everything can't speak about that yet, but that's something else we need to work on. We want to relaunch the merch. Need some help on that set. There's just too many things going on. Too many things. Anyway, let's speak about the news. Have a little bit of a moan here today. As I said, I want to kind of have a little bit of a Q&A, I think, in this show. Just fancy a little Q&A for 5 minutes. Anyway, Sekou Kone. Someone down there asking, will the person have to be UK based? Yeah, pretty much. Because the person who is going to be this head of community will be at the live shows, will be helping organize the live shows, will be helping organize like global event meetups. And I've already spoken to you about these sorts of dreams that I've got. Like at some point down the line, will, whether it's Cape Town, whether it's New York, whether it's, I don't know, Montreal, anywhere in the world, organizing like a United People's TV community meetup in that area, and then whenever a game is getting played, we can go and just meet in the bar. Wouldn't have to be anything massively formal. Wouldn't have to do a huge event, but just everybody meeting up. And I've got it in my head now that I think that an ultimate ambition of mine is for the United People's TV community to be a place where lots of you, like, ladies and gents, like, you meet people that become friends in your real life. And you get, oh yeah, do you remember when we met on the United People's TV community? And then you realise you're actually local and you live near each other. That's awesome. And I know I can do that. I know that what we've built here has the capability of doing that. But I need a head of community to help me achieve that. I can't do it on my own. So there's things I want to do now that I just can't do myself. I need someone else. Right. Sekou Kone. Hasn't played for a while. You know why. Fractured his eye socket. Good news is he's going to be coming back after the international break. So what's that? I think it was the end of August. I think it was the end of August. He did that. Good news for him. And it's a real shame because it's been a setback for Sekou Kone. And as well as Sekou Kone, someone that we've been sort of keeping an eye on is Diego Leon. Now, Travis Binion, if you don't know who Travis Binion is, he's United's under-21s coach. And he was speaking about Diego Leon and what's coming up next, right? And this is what United are looking to do, and this is what Travis Binion said. He said, look, it's evident for all to see he has some real qualities and some strong foundations to his game that he has to build on. He is aware, and we are all aware, he has stuff to work on, but to be fair, this is a kid. He has not played a full 90 minutes yet for United. We're going to be looking to tick that off pretty soon, and that'll be really good for him. If he can get a run of 90 minutes, then it's fair to look at his game and see where he's at. At this moment in time, he has shown glimpses of promise and has fitted in with the group really well. So, effectively what Travis Binion is saying is, right, how about we get Diego Leon to play 90 minutes for the under-21s before we make any sort of judgment on what he can do and what he can't do. I think we spoke about it yesterday. Spoke about left wing-back options, and Diego Leon's name was thrown up by a couple of people. Not really. I'm not really sure I agree with Diego Leon's name being involved in that sense. Like, how about he plays 90 minutes down there for the under-21s, maybe even 2 90 minutes games, then just continue to let him develop in the background. He's a raw one. And who else is it? Who else is it that I swear we just signed someone. Christian Orozco. There you go. Bloody randomly remember the name there. The 17-year-old Colombian midfielder that we've signed, and he's going to be joining in June? July? Something like that. Yeah. These sorts of signings, Diego Leon, Sekou Kone, Christian Orozco, they're ones I'm really excited for. So I think we're going to start hitting with some of them. As it stands, none of them really broken through yet. Mick, random comment there saying, Sam really needs an injection of capital to expand. Honestly, dude, I don't. Like, I get emails all the time. As I said, today can be like a bit of a Q&A. If you've got any questions you want to ask about United People's TV, use this bit now. About where we're at, about plans going forward, about expansion, about opportunities, ask away. I'd like to talk about it. But in terms of like an injection of capital, I get emails all the bloody time. Offers of capital, offers of like money up front for X down the line. I don't really think it's capital that I need, because I've been quite smart. I've always kept things back. I've never really overspent. I've always kind of kept it in the account so that I can then invest into United People's TV as and when further down the line when I need to, which is always served me pretty well. I've not been flash. I don't even have a car anymore. I sold my car the other week because I'm working from home and I've got the gym there. I don't actually need a car. So I've got one. I don't need any investment, if I'm being completely honest. What I need is the people. That's what I need. I've got the investment to pay for the people. And I've got Ronnie, who's an absolute cornerstone of what we do. We've got the social team. The social team's big now. Like, Alex, you're asking, how big is the United People's TV team now? I was doing payroll the other day, and I think it was 16 people. And these all look like people, like it might just be a video editor or it might be a graphic designer that helped and it was an invoice that was getting paid at the end of the month. I think it was 16 people in total, which I think is the most. And there was like 3 or 4 or 5 new names on that list that hadn't been there before. So yeah, it's definitely grown. Ricky saying, has anyone approached you about being a full-time backer of United People's TV? Yeah, quite a few people, if I'm being honest. But it's just me. It's always been just me. There's never been a big company behind it. Once upon a time when I was part of Ball Street, United People's TV was in Ball Street, and that was when I was working with Ball Street. But then I got ownership back, and I'd always ran it the whole way through. But yeah, man, it's always been me. What was I saying down there? Some business building advice. How did you start? It's a cool question. You're not going to like the answer, Nikhil, if I'm being completely honest. There is no guaranteed path. The only way you make a successful business is if you commit. And I'm talking about, like, if you want to give up your this is something that people really have to understand. If you want to give up your 9-to-5 job to work for yourself, you're going to have to give up working 40 hours a week to work 70 hours a week, and probably for less money, and probably for about 2 to 3 years, maybe. It depends on, some people get lucky and some people like get early into it. Not early into it, but to earn as much on your own as you were earning for someone else, it takes a long time. And there is no secret sauce. It's just graft. It's worth it in the end. Like, I love what I do. But anybody who comes at me saying I'm lucky, I'll just slap you upside the head, man. I will slap you upside the head. This is not luck. Where I've positioned myself here. And I've grafted through like some torrid years at United. And I think I've maintained my integrity the whole way through. Does your other half do any work on the channel? No. Susie's busy. She is high up, working in a school. Very good teacher. And right now doesn't have much time. What's going down here? If you could start again, what would you would you change anything? Asked Stu. Would I change anything? I don't think there's any real regrets I've got. I think the pathway that I've crafted, it's taken longer to get here, but it's so much more sustainable now that I am here. Like the style of content that I do, the way that we've progressively got better and better, haven't gone in too heavy and too hard and like over invested and had to pull back. I'm pretty happy, man, with what we've done. Neville, you're saying, in one of the early videos, I think under Van Hal, you were interviewed on United People's TV outside Old Trafford. Did you take over the channel or what? Because the lady seemed to interview you just as a fan. That was Amy. Right at the very start, 2015, I think it was. It was Amy and Colin who we brought in because at that time, Full-Time Devils were the kings of United content and Arsenal Fan TV was around and fan cams were how content existed. And if you didn't do fan cam content, then you weren't really a fan channel. And I followed that trend at the start until I quickly realized, I don't know how long it was, maybe a year or two, a couple of years down the line, I think. I never liked fan cam content, and luckily the trend went away. I think COVID eventually killed it, and in a good way, because I think fan channels massively evolved past that. When it was fan cam content, it was always point and laugh, haha. That's what fan channel content was, but it's shifted now to quality. You actually watch on a TV, little mini documentaries, proper deep dives, actual full podcasts. I love how the content has evolved to more towards the stuff I've always loved to do. But if I did that at the very beginning, it would never have really resonated. And I wouldn't have survived. Pat, you're saying, do you have a relationship with the club? Do you ever make interview requests? I am in talks, and I don't need to name names, and I won't name names. I'm in talks with people at the club. And I've been trying to build a relationship with the club for a good while. Truth be told, I'm being blocked. Not necessarily by the club, but by how certain channels are perceived. And the image that has, the ripple effect, affects every other channel. And therefore, they're all tarred with the same brush. We had an interview lined up with somebody a couple of months ago, but the plug got pulled. And there's nothing I can do apart from maintain what we're doing. And I'll be honest, I think the club actually closing the doors on any sort of outside access, I think is actually a good thing this year. I can't disagree that it's probably best for the club to just shut the doors. Close the noise off. And I hope that it will make Manchester United, and from a cultural perspective, actually make it a better place. And maybe in a year's time, because we're not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere, then those doors get reopened again. So all I can continue doing is doing the sort of content that I think is right and actually helps the football club. I might complain about it sometimes, I might criticise sometimes, but I don't ever do it in an over-the-top fashion. I try and research where possible. Look, the match reactions, they're emotional because I've just literally watched a game of football. I suppose they're as close as you're going to get to a fan cam on this channel. Ricky's saying, would you consider doing Sky Sports and Talk Sport to boost United People's TV? Talk Sport, no. I've turned Talk Sport down like 4 or 5 times. I've actually turned down Sport Bible about 4 or 5 times as well. Those sorts of platforms that I just do not think they have the best intentions at heart. They don't. They don't want to invite me on to have an actual sort of analysis and a conversation about United. They want me to say something stupid or for me to react to something and for it to become something that then goes somewhere else. And then that's the video that people see. And I'm always hesitant about that. I've always been hesitant about collabing with anybody, really. And it's probably not helped me to the point now, right? Again, insight. When it comes to working with brands, it's quite an important part for me in the next step of United People's TV, because that, bringing in some brands, like we've been working with Legend, big up them, Betano, and a couple more that we're trying to work with behind the scenes, because the money that we can get from those allows this investment to go up to the next level and allows me to, employ a head of community, bring in other editors. Like the money just gets invested back into the channel. And I've realized that because I haven't really done enough of my personal brand outside of United People's TV, it's actually made it a bit more difficult for people to know who I am and my face and to trust me, other than people who are here and are inside the United People's TV community. So that's actually made it a little bit more difficult for me to secure these sorts of deals. Again, a little bit of insight. Cheddar, it's your birthday today. Good morning to you, dude. Kekel saying, do you think you would work with Steve Howson? You seem to have similar takes on a lot of topics. I would work with Steve. I'd have a chat with Steve. I'd do a collab with Steve. I think the way that he's developed his content and the way that he's developed himself as well, all the stuff that he's done fitness-wise, mental health, yeah, I think he's done a lot of good, if I'm being completely honest. MB saying, you would think that club TV channels with their dwindling viewership would probably see the writing on the wall and incorporate fan channels on their channels, would also promote unity. You could say that, but you could very much say the opposite, right? It depends on how you look at them. I don't think that all fan channels have the best intentions at heart for their respective clubs. They just don't. I'm not just talking about Man United, by the way. I just think in general. So I understand why United are hesitant. And I think United are right to be hesitant. They're a bit protective, maybe sometimes overprotective of the brand, but maybe that's why the brand of Manchester United is still the brand of Manchester United. I really want at some point to be able to work with United. I think that would be an amazing ambition that once every month, once every couple of months, I'd have the ability to work with the club. Why wouldn't I want that? I'd love that. And the only way I'm going to get there is by doing content that reflects not. I'm not saying I'm sitting here like a bloody PR machine for the football club, because it's just not the case. Like, anybody who's watched this channel long enough will know I'm pretty honest with my opinions, right? Whether it's good or whether it's bad, I'm pretty honest about it. But I'd love to work and help the club if I ever can in the future. Someone down there saying, Sam, will United People's TV always be a one-man show, or have you considered bringing in other presenters? Dude, that's been an ambition of mine for, I think, about 2 years now. Really 2 years. And that's why I'm so happy that we've started the podcast and we've got Dan on board and we've got Nick on board. Both of those lads are class. Really, really class. I can see Dan going really far. I haven't actually said this before. I can see Dan going really far, like working inside United. He's just come out. He's got a sports journalism degrees into his final year. I think he's going to go far. I think you'll see Dan quite a lot. Maybe even working with United in the future. And Nick's just a class guy as well. Great insight. He works across all his other stuff, maybe with FOTMob and any other presenting stuff that he does. But he's great. So I can't be a one-man band forever. Right? I can't be a one-man band forever. There has to be a point. I'm nowhere near this yet, but there has to be a point where at some point I can go away for a week and there's somebody else who sits here and does the live shows with you guys and girls for a week. Now, maybe only a third of the people would tune in to begin with, but I have to slowly integrate that person to the point where you trust them as much as you trust me. Because then I could have a few days off, and maybe it would. I can't tell you the last time I had a proper holiday. Again, this is the beauty and the beast of running your own stuff, running your own business. You can't ever clock off, and especially something like this where news is 24/7. News doesn't have a Christmas break. News doesn't have a bank holiday. News doesn't have Easter. News is constant. It's 24/7, 365. So I need other people with the same sort of energy levels that I've got. And I think Dan and Nick have been a great addition to the podcast, and we'll bring them in, hopefully, into the live show environment at some point. And you're saying you're too honest. That's why you'll never be in with the club. I'm afraid you don't fluff them. Imagine I did fluff them, man. Like, none of you would respect me enough. You wouldn't. I might get in with the club, but then I start speaking like MUTV. And like, man, MUTV can be so much better than it is. But it can't, because it's the club channel. It's effectively propaganda. Because it is a club channel. Right? They're not going to tell you exactly what's going on. Yeah, Rich. I would love to bring in a lead female host for the women's team. Again, this is in the plans. I want to eventually I don't know whether I would spawn it out into separate. I mean, it could be separate channels, but then that's going to be a bloody lot to manage. I don't know whether that would be the right thing to do, but I would love to be able to have some more dedicated, focused attention on the academy. I would love to get some more dedicated, focused attention on the women's team. I don't think I'll have the space to do that on United People's TV, just this one channel. It would just get too crowded. But then how do you split that off? Do you maybe make it an Instagram account? Would that be a better way to start it? Again, all these things they've all been conversations that we've had behind the scenes. Questionnaire Tiskin saying, do you ever feel lonely when you work all by yourself? I'll be honest, not really. I've always been quite good in my own company. Like, I've now built the gym in the garden, and I love that. Like, managing my condition now is kind of effectively a bit of a full-time job. That's why I needed it in my backyard. I've got a treadmill there. I've got the bike. I've got the gym set up. I've got everything I need. So that if we get into a transfer window where news can bloody break 24/7, I can now get all the exercise I need to done whilst also being a few minutes away from the studio. I can do the best of both. Rofi saying, can sponsors help the channel grow, Sam? This is the thing, right, about sponsors or brand deals. Here's what they do. If you can bring in brand deals, you then have less requirement to put out maybe daily videos here or there. Because you know you've got the revenue secure that's going to pay everybody, then you can just, oh, cool, man, I can actually really just focus on making wicked content instead. So you think differently about what you're producing and what you're able to produce. Instead of maybe doing stuff that's a bit more news related and a bit more churn, you can just focus on massive bits of quality. Maybe doing less, but because you've already got the revenue secured by the deals, there's less pressure on you to deliver in that sense. Andy's saying, bring in someone who's already presents their own channel and rebrand as United People's TV ladies. Yeah, all these things. Again, this is something that probably the community manager will help with. Like the ambitions and the strategy going forward for the next year. Josh is saying, how much would it take you to sell the channel? I've never really thought about it. If I'm being completely honest. I think it has to be a bit of a thought as maybe an end game where you could maybe look towards acquisition and then I would stay on whilst maybe somebody else then controls the numbers at the very top. That's a possibility. Because there has to be some sort of end game. But I haven't really thought about that yet because I'm nowhere near done. There's so much more growth that I think is possible within... we haven't won the league in 12, 13 years, people. We're going to do that. Whilst I'm running United People's TV, we're going to do that. And I want to be here for that. So all the stuff I've got about the live shows, the global meetups, all these big ambitions. Yeah, I'm nowhere near finished yet. And with the setup I've got here. Ooh, good. Carl, you're saying you need a UPTV production sponsorship? I wish I could tell you about the big plan that we've got in behind the scenes, but it's just too early yet. But I promise you it falls into line with something like that. Someone down there saying, would you like to interview some players? Yes. And I'll be honest, we had a nice little conversation yesterday with a little company called Spotify. And we're hopefully going to be working on some interviews in real life, in the studios, that I think you're really going to enjoy. And that can be a bit of an extension of the podcast. So the podcast itself is something big and massive in its... Because podcasts and video podcasts are almost companies by themselves now because they're so big. So let's run United People's TV at the same time as let's run United People's podcast. And let's try and grow that independently. Me, Dan and Nick. And let's see what we can do there. What interviews can we do? I can tell you one. Andy Cole's agent reached out to us a while ago after we did the video on Andy Cole, just saying, like, that was class, man. Thanks for doing that. So what I would love to do, and I've thought about this, all the videos that we've done over the years, I say the last 18 months or so, are productions videos. We've done one on Gary Neville, for example, defending him as a player, and I stand by that. Roy Keane, Andy Cole. I'd love to be able to speak to them. What's that? Bloody hell. Scared crap at me. Oh, that was the end of the show that I got distracted by. I'd love to be able to do follow-up podcast interviews with those players speaking about the topics of the videos. Like, what's your take on sort of how you're perceived now as a player versus what you did as a career? Loads of stuff that you can do like that. Honestly, the list of ambitions and the list of things I can do is way longer than what I'm capable of myself. And that's why we need a bigger team. And that's why, ideally, we bring in those brand deals that then allows me to keep investing back into the team. I got ambushed by my own video. That video was this, by the way, because I was supposed to speak about Spurs a little bit later, and I'm not sure you saw this. You see this? Let me turn that. You don't even need sound on this. That's Thomas Frank getting snubbed by Jed Spence and Van der Ven after the game. And everyone's been talking about it. I don't know whether they were angry at Thomas Frank or angry towards the crowd. Don't really know. But these are the sorts of articles that we're seeing, and they're the sorts of videos that we're seeing in the build-up to us going to Spurs, man. This is something like, you know how so many clubs and have looked at playing United and going, we've got to take advantage of them. We've got to take advantage of the opportunity. We've got to look at Spurs going, man, they are wounded right now. Their fan base, if we can go to Spurs and we can make that game, I would probably argue, a little bit ugly for the first 15, 20 minutes, you are going to build pressure inside that stadium, like boiling pot pressure, like booze at half-time pressure. Spurs are playing... Who are playing? Sporting tonight, I think, in the Champions League. Keep an eye on that game. Have a listen to the crowd. See how Spurs play. Can they play with actual attacking verve? Can they play with a tempo going forward? We'll find out. Fingers crossed they can't. So come on, Sporting. Do a job. Anyway, that was a very random show, but I really quite enjoyed it. These sorts of things I don't get the opportunity to speak to anyone about, really. Certainly none of you guys and girls. But yeah, this afternoon, lunchtime. Am I going to do a lunchtime video? I might do a lunchtime video today, or I might not, if I'm being honest. I think I kind of want to do one on Jamie Carragher, but I'll see if I've got the energy to do it. If not, I might just focus on all the head of community interviewing for that. I've got to record. I can tell you this one actually. So 2 out of 3 are done. 2 out of 3 of these videos are done. Carlos Baleba, what's going on at his season at Brighton. Elliot Anderson. Right? I covered that. And I said to you in the build-up to that Forest game, Elliot Anderson really impressed me in terms of looking at his season so far, looking at his development, and looking at the numbers. There's a lot of impressive numbers around Elliot Anderson. Then he played like that in the Forest game. But then Adam Wharton, who, if you'd asked me at the start of the summer which midfielder I would have chosen, it was Adam Wharton for me. He was number 1. He was my dream target. Is that still the same? What's going on? I'm going to cover Adam Wharton, and that video should be released on Thursday. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for the questions, right? I enjoyed doing it. Again, the Q&As. Bloody opening the UPTV arms again. I've had that on my list for so long. It's just, it keeps getting knocked off the list because just haven't got the head of community. I haven't got the support, the person alongside me that can help with that. So we'll see. I might do a lunchtime video. I might not. But there's a lot of jobs to be getting on with. Yeah, that sports psychology video is a big one, if I'm being honest. It's probably way too big for a lunchtime one. Thank you all for tuning in. All right. Someone's down there saying, when are you coming to Africa? I don't know. When am I going on holiday? Closest thing I've got to a holiday so far is going Milton Keynes for one night before I went up to the Brighton game. Milton Keynes isn't exactly a holiday. No offense, Milton Keynes. But thank you all for tuning in. please do drop a like on the video. I'll be here tomorrow morning. It's always good to talk to you. All right? Take it easy.